So we are currently driving the Hyundai IONIQ 6, the 2024 model, and there are no changes between last year's model and this year's model.
Except for a price drop.
Except for the price reduction. And Hyundai is claiming that their significant reduction is due to production efficiencies and scale. And what that means is that they are now able to build their EVs at a lower cost, and they're able to pass on their savings onto the buyer, which is great, right?
Obviously.
Because a lot of people were interested in this car, and price was never really an issue. The car is pretty affordable, I would say, for an EV.
Right.
But now with the $2,000 to $4,000 price reduction, I think it makes this car even more desirable.
For sure, absolutely. And we loved this car. A lot of websites actually said this car was like their favorite car of the year for EVs.
For sure, and a lot of people that I've spoken to that were considering this car were also considering the Hyundai IONIQ 5.
Now, before we start this, okay, this is the 2024 model.
Right.
There's still no Apple CarPlay. Wirelessly, I mean. There's no wireless Apple CarPlay. And it's weird because, it's on the Kona, which is a 2024 model. I don't understand why it's not on this. So that's kind of disappointing.
And the Kona is the more affordable car.
Yeah, the Kona is a more affordable one. So there must be something going on because, every car manufacturer except for, Rivian and Tesla have Apple CarPlay wirelessly, and same with Android Auto.
Okay, so let's compare the two.
Okay.
So let's talk about reliability, price point, cargo space, the interior, the quality, all of that. Let's just cover all of that.
We'll start with reliability. It's hard to talk about reliability because we don't know the long-term outlook of this car.
Right.
The only thing we've seen so far are a couple of news reports of people hitting their battery and having issues
to have that replaced.
But
otherwise, most people that have had this car to date haven't really had any other complaints aside from those two cases that have come out.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about cargo. Let's start with cargo space.
Okay.
So this car has significantly less cargo space than the 5.
Right.
This one has 27 cubic feet of. This one has 11 cubic feet of space in the trunk. Which is not big, but it doesn't feel small. It doesn't feel small.
It does.
I put the hockey bag in there this morning. Lucas's hockey bag went in there.
But that's a kid's hockey bag.
And yeah, but it still had a ton of space. I went to Costco this morning.
Yeah, it's fine.
Tons of space for groceries. But the IONIQ 5 definitely has way more space. It has 27 cubic feet of space, which is significant. So we got that out of the way. Let's talk about the space in the back seat.
Backseat space
Leg
crazy
space.
long. You have so much space back there. Doesn't
but for
matter.
both, right? This one too.
For this, yeah. I mean, it does slope down, so taller people might find the head space a little short.
Yes.
But the leg space, our son, he's only 9 years old, but he can extend his legs all the way out.
He straightened his legs and still doesn't hit the back of the seat in front of him.
Which is crazy.
I sat back there this morning.
No transmission tunnel.
I had no issues. Right, no transmission tunnel on either car.
Yeah.
On both cars, which is great. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, which is a significant difference between the 5 and the 6, is the range of the two cars. This car has significantly more range when we're talking about the rear wheel drive compared to the 5. So with this car, you can get almost 600 kilometers on a full charge,
which is
huge. And alternatively, you can get close to 500 on the IONIQ 5, which is still amazing, right?
Yeah, and I think it just comes down to their design, right? The IONIQ 6 and IONIQ 5 are on the same platform, and they share similar battery sizes at 77 kilowatt hours if you buy the long-range version. Mm-hmm. And because this car just has significantly better aerodynamics, it's only expected to get more range than the boxier-looking IONIQ 5.
Right. So, if range is something that you really need to consider, which most people I think do, but I mean, if you're looking at the 5, which is almost 500 kilometers, it's still so great that I don't think it matters which one you get at the end of the day.
Yeah,
right?
It just depends what type of driver you are. If you're a city driver, bigger family, IONIQ 5. If you're more of a solo driver, but you're taking more road trips, IONIQ 6, right? It just depends what you're doing, that's all. Right. I will say, though, it did snow today, and we do have winter tires on this IONIQ 6, and it handled it like a champ.
Well.
I was shocked.
Very,
I was like, this is going to slip everywhere. But no. I didn't slip once. I was able to get out of the thick snow. We had about 12 to 15 centimeters the night before, and it just handled very, very well for a rear-wheel drive car. Now, would I want it over an all-wheel drive car? No, I'd still go all-wheel drive in a country like Canada, but it was good to see that it performed very well.
And since we're talking about an all-wheel drive car, we have if you're purchasing an all-wheel drive car, either the 5 or the 6, you have 320 horsepower and 446 pounds of torque, which is, you know, pretty powerful. And I think that's all you really need, especially if you're just driving in the city, right?
0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds for the rear wheel drive. Obviously faster if you go all wheel drive.
Right.
Again, fast enough. Like, how fast are you? The thing about electric cars, which totally does very well, is that you just have instant torque whenever you need it, which is something that, you know, weaker gas cars don't have. So regardless of like how fast your electric car is, it always kind of feels fast off the start.
So the 2 trim packages are obviously rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. But you can also purchase an ultimate package for, I believe it's about $6,000 for the upgrade. But it comes with a lot of upgrades. Like, you get the heads-up display, which I think most people like, right?
Yep.
Heated rear seats, which is great. You have the upgrade of getting the 20-inch wheels as opposed to 18 or 19-inch wheels.
I will say though,
without the ultimate package.
We are driving the version with the 18-inch wheels right
Yes.
now, and I do find it a little bit smoother than the 2023 model we drove, which had the bigger wheels.
Yes.
So if you want it to be like as smooth as possible, I would probably personally just put 18-inch wheels on this,
Yeah, I think I'd be okay with that too.
and you'll save yourself some money.
Yes, but the difference is if you're already purchasing the ultimate package,
Yeah,
you get
it comes with
so
it
many
standard.
other upgrades. You get the ambient lighting, which is really cool. You get the ventilated seating, which is really awesome. Leatherette seating, because this is cloth. The base is cloth, and it's, you know, it's fine, but it's not
Yeah,
like,
like,
it doesn't
this is a
feel like
quiet-
a luxurious car when you have all these, you know,
Of course.
when you're lacking all of these upgrades. You don't have the sunroof, which would be nice to have, right? So you're getting
For
that
sure.
with the ultimate package as well. You're also getting 8 Bose sound speakers, which is also really nice. So if you're not getting the ultimate package, you're not getting any of those upgrades.
Yeah, but like, look, let's cut to the chase, Andrea. Okay, what would you rather drive, the IONIQ 5 or IONIQ 6? Like, if you only had to pick one.
To be honest, if I didn't have kids,
No, forget kids. This is your
car,
life.
this is what I would pick.
You'd pick this.
over the 5, yes.
I would pick the 5,
I like the look of this better.
but I like the space and the trunk of the IONIQ 5 better. That's why I would choose it.
I agree. I would prefer the trunk on the 5. It's way bigger and more spacious.
So I'm the soccer mom in this situation,
Yeah, you are.
and you're like
But this feels like a cheap Porsche in some ways. When you're looking at the back of the car, it kind of has like the Porsche vibe, which I love. I love the aerodynamic look of this car. I don't particularly love the look of the 5.
Yeah, but have you seen the
feel-
5, the N-Line 5? That looks so good.
That does look good, but we're not talking about the N-Line. We're
I know,
talking
but
about
still, like, if you really want to make the IONIQ 5 look like a nice sports car, you can just get the N-Line, or you can do a nice wrap, or, you know, there's options. That's
there
what
are
I'm trying to
options.
say.
But when we're comparing the two, so talking about price point here, they're both, you know, about we're talking about in Canadian dollars, $57,000 or $60,000.
Right.
Without the ultimate package.
Right.
Okay. So they're both the same price.
Yeah,
Which one would you prefer? I still would go with the 6.
I would go with the
I
5.
feel more. It's sportier, of course, significantly.
Well, this is a better drive. Like,
Yes.
it handles curves better. When you take tight turns, it's more centered to the ground. Like, this is a slightly better driving experience than the IONIQ 5. I'll give you that, okay?
The driving experience is, I feel like there's no comparison between the driving experience. This just feels like it handles so
Absolutely.
well on the
No,
road.
I agree with you. But
You're only the only two things you're talking about are space
yeah.
and
No, the space is pretty similar inside the cabin, but for me, it's
there's
just
significantly more leg room with the
yes.
5,
But you get
with
more
the
trunk
5.
space. With,
No, with
is
the
there?
5,
Okay,
with the
fine.
5.
You get more leg room, but this is more than enough for a family.
and more headspace.
Right, but this is more than enough for a family. For me personally, I want to be a little bit higher up. Yeah, again, this is if I'm like with my family now, and I want the hatchback style trunk. Like, that is, I'm living with my Model 3 right now, and I hate my trunk. Even though it's a big trunk, I don't like the opening, and this kind of reminds me of that. So is there anything else we need to mention? Like, everything else is pretty much the same. You still have the Pixel design, the back seats look the same, the front looks the same, regardless of whatever, you know, model you decide to get. You still have the little, I don't know, what do you call this? Middle glove compartment box thingy?
The middle console.
Middle console
Yeah.
with, you know, enough space underneath to store your stuff, lots of space for your legs, your wireless charger in the front. Windows are not on the left side, which
I don't
get
like
used
this.
to.
I don't like it.
I'm not used to it.
I'm not used to it.
But this is something you'll get used to, though.
It actually took me a minute to figure out where the how to open the windows.
This is like a minor complaint.
It is a minor complaint. What do you feel about the storage that it's all open down here?
Well,
do you like that?
You still have lots of storage to place stuff in here, which is fine. And you also have your glove compartment box. I don't mind open storage as long as there's closed storage where I can use to
hide stuff.
To hide stuff if I need to, right? So that's that.
We also have to talk about the infotainment center, right? The two 12-inch displays.
But that's standard on any
but that's exactly the
6.
same on that's the same on both cars. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like it's
the displays are fine.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like I said, is the software. I'm not a fan of Hyundai software.
Okay.
Until they do something to make it better, it's just on the low end of the list for me. You know, I'd rather just have wireless CarPlay. I mean, at least it has CarPlay wired, but I'd just rather wireless CarPlay, or even Tesla system, or even Rivian system, which not too many people have. But those are the styles of software I want to be part of, not this.
Okay. So, but also, what do you feel about all the physical buttons?
It's nice to have. I think if you're transitioning from a regular, gas vehicle, this will make you feel right at home, whereas, a Tesla or any other style of minimalist approach, you're gonna have to go through a transition period.
So I had one complaint when I was driving the last few days. I don't know if it had anything to, part of it today had something to do with the fact that there was a little bit of ice buildup on the sensors, but before it snowed a couple of days ago, I noticed every time I stop at a light and I'm, slowing down behind a car, the sensors would think that I'm about to hit a car, and it would start going crazy and, warn me to stop.
Yeah.
But I was already at a full stop, like 6 or 7 feet behind another car, and it started to go off.
And it was snowing that day?
It was not snowing yet.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
So the sensors were going off. I don't know if that was just a glitch, but that happened.
Okay.
So just wanted to point out.
All right, so let's sum this up. I'm going for the IONIQ 5. I think that's the car most people should get.
Yeah.
But if you want a little bit more style, you want to feel the drive, a more sporty drive, but still want a family-oriented car, then probably lean towards the IONIQ 6, right?
Yep.
Yes, and if you want like the sportiest version of all that, just get the Kia, the EV6.
The EV6 is great too.
I mean, they're all good. Honestly, guys, like
Hyundai's awesome. They've been doing such a great job with their electric cars. I have been so impressed with all of their cars.
And that's the thing. Like, you drive all three of these, they're all going to feel slightly the same. It just comes down to how it feels when you drive. Okay, so like again, IONIQ 5, big and boxy. IONIQ 6, more sporty, takes corners better.
A little less
Kia
spacious,
EV6, somewhere in the middle, I'd say.
Yeah.
All right. So anyways, that wraps up this review of the 2024 Hyundai IONIQ 6. If you guys have any questions, make sure to let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe. We are releasing a video on the Kia EV9 very, very soon, which I'm actually excited about. So stay tuned for that.